Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
The Daily Compliance News for June 14, 2021, the Beat Them Up edition. And we begin with that story from the Wall Street Journal. 2 executives and 2 outside directors resigned from the Toshiba company after they were accused of working with the Japanese government against foreign shareholders. This is the first fallout from a scandal that has highlighted Japan's business-government ties. Sunday's announcement came 3 days after a report by outside lawyers depicted wide-range cooperation between Toshiba management, the head of Toshiba's board's audit committee, and officials of the Japanese government. It's obviously the latest blow to the reputation of a company, and at one point, a Toshiba executive vice president said that they should, quote, beat them up, end quote. So, more bad news for Toshiba going forward. Next up, also from the Wall Street Journal, a Texas judge, a federal judge, has ruled that the Methodist hospital system in Houston can require its employees to be vaccinated against COVID-19, dismissing a lawsuit brought by workers who claim the mandate unlawfully forced them to be human guinea pigs. The court held that it was legal for, let me re-say that, legal for an employer mandate due to the pandemic. Houston Methodist was the first major healthcare system in the U.S. to require vaccinations for employees and new hires. So good news for patients at Methodist Hospital going forward. Next up, we have an interesting story from the New York Times as House lawmakers introduced a sweeping antitrust legislation aimed at restraining the power of big tech and to stave off corporate consolidation. If passed, the bills would be the most ambitious update to monopoly laws in decades. There are 5 bills in total, taking direct aim at Amazon, Apple, Facebook, and Google and their grip on online commerce, information, and entertainment. The proposals would make it easier to break up businesses that use their dominance in one area to gain a stronghold in another, and would create hurdles for acquisitions of nascent rivals, and would empower regulators with more funds to police the companies. Obviously, this is just a starting point, and it's unclear whether or not Republicans would support this in the Senate, but it seems to have at least some bipartisan support at this point. And finally, from the Wall Street Journal, the country's largest drug distributor, McKesson, is trimming executive pay in what industry watchdogs describe as a rare step towards holding individuals accountable for the consequences of the opioid epidemic. The board of directors at McKesson said it would dock the pay of CEO Brian Tyler by $2.9 million due to the company's tentative agreement to settle opioid charges for $8.1 billion. Please note that Tyler was still awarded a pay package worth an estimated nearly $15 million, even with this docking of pay. But it is an important first step for companies to hold executives accountable, and even if they continue to make a lot of money as well, any clawback is certainly something that corporate governance experts and aficionados would probably cheer going forward. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow.